Right. You in class? Our professor let us know that we wanted to have a formal speech to talk about food. So, by show of hands, who likes fish? Yes, that's excellent. A lot of fish. A lot of fish lovers. Now, I want to ask you, how does a fish go from swimming in the sea to arriving on a plate fit to eat? Well, tonight, we'll be talking of how that actually happens by sharing with you my experience working in an Alaskan fishing cannery in Valdez, Alaska last year. I believe that the unique working conditions, the interesting boarding where you sleep at, and the recreation options while you're working in this fishing cannery make for the cannery position to be a unique job. So please allow me to be your guide and try to picture the scene for you. So start. It's 9:30 p.m. and the bottom of the sun is just starting to dip below the horizon. You hear your alarm on your phone and you pick it up before you check the time. It's 9:30. Are you ready for work? Now, you have half an hour to get ready for work. First thing you do, the first thing that a typical worker in a fishing cannery would do is put on their gear. So your gear consists of full body gear. And we start with your feet. You have wool socks. If you don't have wool socks, really thick socks. On top of that, thick boots, waterproof boots. They need to be waterproof. They're not, feet are going to be frozen. Secondly, you have long johns, which are like really long pajamas, like a onesie, but it's fuzzy and warm and keeps your whole body warm. You have that underneath. And then on top of long johns, you have thick jeans. You wouldn't take these, it's a hole in it. Don't take these. On top of the thick pants, the long johns, you have a thick undershirt, a thick shirt, and a jacket. And now that you're ready and all geared up to go, you arrive in the fishing cannery. After you arrive in the fishing cannery, you will also don another set of clothing, which they provide, and that is the actual fishing gear, so you don't get fish entrails on your body, and a face mask, woolen gloves, and rubber latex gloves to go with those gloves. And now that you're all geared up and ready to work. So, what are the actual sections in this fishing cannery? There are a couple sections, and I'll walk you through this. Now it's 10 p.m. Current time is 10 p.m. You're all geared up. Everything's good. Now, one of the sections is the freezer section. These people obtain the fish from the boat. The people fish the boat. Basically, these people in the freezers, they obtain the fish and they put them in a rack and they put it in the freezer. They have their own special gear to don. That's one section of the factory. Another section is the breakers. These breakers, they work in tandem with the freezer boys, and they pull out the fish that have already been frozen and literally break them apart and shuttle them down a conveyor belt to be loaded into a truck. Now, you are in your own special section that is not one of those two. However, in this time, you notice that 4 hours have passed, and it is now 2 a.m. So you are ready for your first break, which is 15 minutes. So you happily get out of your gear, which takes a full 5 minutes. A snack is provided, which you chomp, takes 5 minutes. And you have 5 minutes to get all your gear back on, and then you go back to your spot for another 4 hours. Now I'll tell you the section that works with your spot. There is a section called Fish House. Fish House is probably what comes to your mind when you think about a fish cannery. The people in Fish House, they obtain the live fish that the freezer boys didn't get, and they either incapacitate them. After that, pull out the entrails with their fingers, they have steel fingers, and separate the egg sacs from the sperm sacs to be shuttled down finally into where your section is, which is row room. Row room, they get all the egg sacs, all the sperm sacs, separate them out, shuttle the egg sacs into a nice protective box, you could say, and this box goes off into one last section of the factory called case up. And basically case up is where they put those precious eggs into cases, and the case goes up and shuttle them into a truck. Now it is 6 p.m. You're ready for your lunch, which is 30 minutes. Basically like two bites put together. It's kind of good. Now, once you're done with your lunch, you go back. You do the whole cycle again. So a whole other break and a whole other lunch, and you'll be done finally with your day of work in the fishing cannery at 2 p.m. Now, after you're done with your first or one of your days, you may be wondering, where do you sleep? Well, this fishing cannery has room and board provided. Let me talk a little bit about the board that's provided. Now, it can be said that where you sleep is considered a long 2-story metal shoebox. If you want to picture it, it's 2 stories, there's stairs, and they're separated by gender. Either you're on the bottom floor or you're on the top floor. There's 2 types of rooms.